Okay.
Perfect. All right. Fennel, do you want me to start? Can you start?
Go ahead. Yes, yes. Go ahead.
Can you start it off?
Go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Hi, I'm Emily, not Wally. Yeah, so we're all here obviously to talk about anxiety and depression. I am going to keep it super real because I've learned along my journey that the more I sort of try to hide certain parts that I deem not so good, it just sort of becomes confusing and even hard to tell my story. So I'm not going to go into every single detail, but I'll just sort of give you a rundown of why I'm here. I don't have all the answers. All I know is what I've experienced, and I just share my stories and what I've experienced in hopes that maybe through connection and us sharing these stories, we don't feel so alone with some of the things that we have to constantly repeat in our heads over and over. And just to know that there's other people that are also going through similar things, and that there is a way to feel better. This is something I heard a lot. I'm very blessed to have been brought into the spiritual community very young. My mom, I was about 10 when my mom had my sister and I Reiki attuned. So if anyone doesn't know that, it's a way a Reiki master will bring you into being able to use the energy work. At 10, I didn't understand it. All it was, my mom was teaching me how to heal ourselves. Well, at 10, when you go to school and you start talking about stuff like that, it's not so well received. So basically my whole life, I've felt very disconnected from society. I fit in everywhere, but I fit in nowhere. Surrounded by people, I could play the game and participate, but there was always just this feeling of like, what's wrong with me? Like, why do I feel this way? Why am I always scared of everything? I never felt safe. I just in my own body. So, and my father, through life, there's a lot of drinking in my household. So I definitely come by addiction naturally. Alcohol was very easy to have in my house, and we were the party house. My mom was manic depressive since my sister was born. We were told that she actually didn't, whether this is true or not, she didn't hold my sister for a year because she was so ill herself in bed. The first memory I have of knowing something was off was walking down the hall and seeing my mom in bed for days, and no one talked about anything. Nothing was spoken about, which it's okay. It's the way it is. So for me, I didn't understand that, but I knew that I had different coping techniques to deal with what was happening in my house. One of them was I pulled my hair. So I have a disorder, I don't label myself, but when I'm stressed and anxious, I pull my hair, I twist it around and I pull it out. I've been doing it for my whole life pretty much, and I'll just show it now. It's not it, but I've pulled out basically at this point a lot of my hair from doing it so long. I'm actually in the process now of healing that because I understand why I was doing it. I'm not going to I won't keep going, but basically I have sat in the depths of hell many times and just constantly wondering, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? How do I get out of this? My spiritual journey, again, because it started so young, led me down a lot of seeking. I was always seeking, finding one thing, grabbing onto it, reading everything I could about it. And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, I thought this is the thing that's going to change everything. I got this new pack of tarot cards. This is it. I'm going to learn this, and this is going to change everything. Whatever the thing was, I chose that, and I told myself, this will fix it. It gave me more knowledge, which gave me more power, which did help certain things, but it didn't get to the root of why all these different things were happening to me. Very confusing. It finally got to a point in my journey. I actually started traveling. I quit my corporate job about 8-9 years ago. had basically a nervous breakdown in my kitchen. One day I was sitting in my little cubicle looking around, everybody's like on their laptop, and it just hit me. I was working for a newspaper. We were doing this deadline. Get to Friday, I would just drink to Sunday, back then anxious all day. Oh my God, I have to go back to work. I'd sit in the parking lot and I'd be like, I can't go in. I cannot go in. And I'd force myself and I'd go in and it would be the worst. And then one day I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I went home, I decided I was going to quit my job, and I decided I was going to travel. Knew nothing about traveling. I'd been to Cuba once on an all-inclusive, and then I had done one trip to India. And I booked a ticket to New Zealand because I Googled safest place to travel as a woman alone, and that's what it brought up. And I had a friend who'd gone there, and so I just booked it. It was the first time in my entire life I did not ask anyone for advice. Every other time, any decision I had to make, I could not make a decision. I had to ask everyone, what do you think? What do you think? Which just caused more confusion because I didn't trust myself. I couldn't make a decision. It was chaos in my head all the time. When I made the decision sitting on my kitchen floor, I booked my ticket. I had no idea how I was going to do it. I had still my job. I had all the things. I didn't care. At that point, I surrendered. I didn't care. Didn't matter. I made it work. I gave away all my belongings. I sold my car. I packed a backpack and I quit my job and went to New Zealand with about $1,200. That's sort of when I started to, because I realized now I could be myself. I was somewhere where people didn't have a opinion of me. People didn't have a perception of me. I wasn't trying to play a part that I had created for myself because of the life I lived. I was a people pleaser. Codependency runs thick in my blood. Why? Because my household was chaos. So I came up with different techniques to deal with what was happening. I developed an eating disorder at about the age of 15. My mom didn't know how to communicate that to me, so she told all my friends to watch me to see if I was bulimic. Which at the age of 15 is devastating. I didn't know this was happening. Then she drove me one day to a psychologist, didn't tell me she was taking me there, just said she was taking me to an appointment. I sat in front of someone who was sitting there asking me about bulimia, and I didn't even know what bulimia was. I was just making myself sick because I hated my body. That was traumatic. I knew what to say to not have to go back to there again. And then I lived with that disease until about a year ago. I'm 38, just turned 38 on the 15th. I had extreme body dysmorphia to the point where I would stand in front of the mirror for hours. It was chaos, and that on top of everything else. Nobody's fault. It just was what it was. And so basically, those are some of the highlight moments. But those are all the things that now are, those are that's my story now. Those things empower me now because I've been able to move through some of them, through understanding myself at a deeper level. Anything that helps us feel a little bit better in any moment that feels like we can't breathe, or that we're being attacked by our own mind. Anything we can do, going for a walk, any little thing we can do to just break that is a win. And I think like learning how to celebrate those wins and learning different tools to be able to navigate through the world, because I think that we all know there's a lot going on. There's a lot of things people are feeling that they don't understand why, because a lot of it's not theirs. There's things that happen maybe that they don't know. We're feeling the energy of the collective. There's so much happening. There's in the world. There's a lot going on. So, and the less we can judge ourselves and blame ourselves for what's going on and just accept that this is happening. Just like nature, we just accept, like it's snowing. We just have to accept it. Like we can be like, ah, it's snowing. And we can all talk about how much we don't want it to snow, but Mother Nature doesn't give an F. She's gonna snow. So we can accept where we're at, which was the hardest part. I didn't want to surrender. I didn't want to admit, because the household I grew up in was everything had to be perfect. Everything looked perfect on the outside, but it was chaos on the inside. So the more real I got with myself and stopped trying to use all these external things to just to fix me. And I there's nothing wrong with using tools or nothing. It's there. Everything can be used. But the more I just gave myself a break, because I would do something wrong and then I was attacking myself for doing it wrong or not doing it perfect. And then I was attacking myself for feeling that way. It was a double judgment. I'm feeling the feeling of not feeling good enough. And then my other self is attacking me for feeling that way. I felt like I was dying for years and I thought about it a lot. That's my truth. If my sister was not who she is in my life, if God, universe didn't put me there, I would not be sitting here right now. I'm sure you can feel it in my voice. I would not, because there was so many times where I was like, why am I here? Why am I here? And that is a very confusing question to replay in your head over and over. And to feel that, like, just being who you are, you're helping. We're just being, we're okay. Just where you are is perfect. And even though we don't feel that way, and that we do the little things to understand and accept ourselves more. And it is not going to happen overnight. It will not. And I wanted it to so badly. I grabbed everything, please. It just won't. It's like learning anything. We're not taught how to fail. That's the problem. We're taught what perfection is, and then we're constantly trying to get there, but no one's telling us that you're going to fail a whole bunch before you get there. I'm a house cleaner. I've been cleaning for 9 years. When I first started, I sucked. I was the worst. I forgot everything. And it was horrible. I was constantly, thank God my mom was my boss and she was the one delivering me the news, where I was able to express my emotions because it's my mom and still carry on. But if that had been a boss, I probably wouldn't, because I wasn't taught that it's okay if you have to it took me 3 hours to clean a toilet. That's got to start. And the more we can come together and know that, like, you're not alone. You're not alone. There's no comparison. We do not compare, because we can sit and say, well, I had it worse, or I had it better, or it doesn't matter, because everyone's feelings are valid. Every experience that you've had is your experience and your feeling about it. And you don't have to justify it to anyone, but you have to accept it yourself, that it happened and it's okay. It's not, we don't say that it's right what happened, or we don't know, but we have accepting that, like, and moving through it and using it as a part of us that we can use to empower ourselves and other people, and not use it as something that hinders us and makes us scared of life. Because I got tired of being scared all the time. I was fucking scared everywhere I went. Something's gonna get me. I did something wrong. Oh my God. I couldn't relax ever. So that's the first thing. I know I've been talking a lot. I'm so sorry. But the first thing is just some tools to just relax the body. Well, how can we relax the body? What are we eating? How much are we sleeping? Are we getting exercise? Are we moving our body? How are we treating our body? I was looking at my body. I hate you. I hated my body. I would pull at it and feel like, why do I have this body? I hated it. I didn't accept it. I didn't treat it nicely, like this body that's taken me all over the world, that's walked in. No, I was being like, do better, body. My poor body. I didn't know though, so poor me. And it's not my fault. And I'm not mad at myself anymore. And I don't judge myself anymore, because I didn't know. I didn't have the tools that I have now. And so every time we get a new tool, we don't look back and say, oh, I should have done the thing. No, because you didn't have the tool. It's like a guy from the past who's used to build houses in 1920, and he now comes back in 2020 with all his same tools that he had, And he goes, and he starts talking how poorly of the things he built back in the 20s. Well, I should have used this power tool. No, you didn't have that. So you're just wasting your energy, right? So the more gentle, and that's what I've learned, and it's not easy. And I had a meltdown today over my hair. A meltdown because I was just, and you know what? It's okay. I'm allowing myself to have a meltdown. I'm not putting it on anybody else. I'm not going to take it to McDonald's and flip off the person behind me because I'm pissed off about my hair. Nah. People do that, and that's okay too, because they just don't know. But I now have tools that I can just allow myself do what I need to do to feel that feeling. And it sucks and it's really shitty, but it eventually will pass. And it will come back at some point, but that's okay because I'm collecting tools. So I will no longer be a prisoner to that thing that comes back and be in my bed like I was before for days on end. I was rushing through my job, doing not even present, just vacuuming as fast as I could to get in my car, to drive home, to get in my bed, to put on Netflix and to lay there and be like, okay, tomorrow's coming. It's better tomorrow. So with all that, I'm going to leave it there. Again, all I know is my own personal experiences. I totally practice discernment with everything you read. How does it feel to you? Everything you hear, how does it feel to you? Don't take what I say. Don't take what anybody says as just, oh yeah, how does it feel? And then you can try it. And you know what? When you try it, it might not be for you. And that's okay. We don't have to, we can change our minds as many times as we want. And that's something we're not taught. We make a decision and then people go, oh, but you said. I did say, I said that when I had different information. Now I have more information. Now I choose different. Now I see it different. That is okay. That is called growth. That is called expansion. We are evolving. It's okay. We don't need to judge ourselves for changing our minds about something. We don't need to. But if we do, it's okay too. We just go, now when I judge myself, I go, Emily, it's okay. It's okay. You know, we just got to give ourselves a break, just a little break. And the more we can do that, they will stack up. We take a break, and then eventually the breaks get bigger. And there's less in between of the stuck feeling. But every time that stuck feeling is telling you there's something wanting to evolve, there's something wanting to change, there's something wanting to move. So the journey is just finding your own tools and finding, understanding yourself, whatever that looks like. And it's a journey. I've been on this journey for a long time. We all have seeking, and none of that is lost. None of it. It's just information. And now, when I look at someone who is in a place where I once stood, I have compassion and I have deep empathy for them. And I don't be that person that says, yeah, but you said, or do you know what you did last night? Do you know what you did? Do you know what you did? I don't do that anymore. At one point I did, because people did it to me. And it really made me feel bad. And I didn't know that that's not what you should do to somebody else. And so I continued that. And that's okay, because I didn't know, but now I know different. And now when I see somebody, everyone is a version of us. I try not to judge them. I'm not perfect. We all have judgments. I have judgments. I still have thoughts. I'm not, but we're not projecting that out on people. If anything, I'm trying to do the opposite. How can I make them feel better? What can I do to add value to them? Even if it's a smile, even if it's just to do nothing, because everyone else is doing something not nice. And maybe I don't have the confidence, or I don't feel like it in this moment. I don't feel like doing something really nice. That's okay. But I can just do nothing and just keep it neutral then. So that was a lot. Does anybody want to introduce themselves? You don't have to, but if you want to share a little bit about yourself and your journey, if you want. Or if you have a question, if someone wants to ask a question, or just want to say something or talk about something, like there's no rules. So like if something you just want to talk about or vent about, we can just be an ear to just get it out. Something I do that I've started doing, which feels really good, because I like to draw. That's one of my outlets. Which is confusing because people were always getting me in trouble in school because they're like, you're not listening. And I'm like, this is how I listen. But people didn't understand that. So I was labeled as the kid, So when I feel just, there's a lot of thoughts happening at once. And I know that feeling, and we know it. We're like, oh, and it just starts to, sometimes we can't stop it. Once we've picked it up, once we've had a thought, they're like, think of it as you're looking at a forest. And there's one path on the left side that has been used for years. People are just been walking through it, there's like a little bit of trash that shouldn't be there, but someone's going to pick it up who loves Mother Nature soon. And it's a clear path. You see it. To the right is a path that somebody has kind of hacked through 3 times. If you want to get to the other side, by default, people are going to go to where the path is. It's, of course, the path is easy, and you just go whoop right through. The harder path is to take your machete and hack a bit, and hack a bit more, and hack a bit more, and hack a bit more, and then you get cut. You're like, fuck, and then you're like, ugh, there's bugs in here, and you're like, ugh. But you're like, if I go this way, there's a really cool rainbow on the other side. Like amazing. And you know it to be true. But you don't know how long it's going to take to get there. It's dark. So it's kind of like that with your thoughts. It's like we have these thoughts we've been thinking for so long. They're thought patterns. We've been thinking them over and over. So it's so easy to grab one. And then when you grab one, it's like a snowball. It starts rolling and you get more. And the next thing you know, I'm like, how did I get to grade 5 when so-and-so stole my lunch? Like, and then I'm in, how did I get to that relationship so it's like trying to stop a moving car going 100 miles an hour coming down a hill. You can't just step out in front of it and be like, oop. But if the car is just in front of you and it just starts to roll and you catch it, there's more of an opportunity to change it. So, but if it is coming down so fast, we just let it go, because trying to stop it is counterproductive or throwing gas on it. I'm having a thought, I'm having a thought, I shouldn't have the thought, I'm having the thought, I'm having the thought, I shouldn't have the thought, I'm an idiot, why am I having the thought? It's like, woo, we're just going, So what I like to do, which again, this is a tool I use, may work, may not. I just get a piece of my journal and I just start writing whatever comes out. A lot of times it's swearing. I like the word fuck. I'm sorry. I don't mean it in an offensive way. I don't say it to people in an offensive way, but it's a good word when you're pissed off. I just write. I write whatever I am thinking, whatever. I hate anxiety. I'm not crazy, blah, 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 blah. Right. And then you're like, you start judging yourself for writing. You're like, oh, I shouldn't say that. I should, but like, no one's here. And then I'm like, no one's watching. And it's like, I'm swearing. And it's like, it's just a way to just get it. And if you want, fucking burn it after, rip it up, whatever, or don't, it's your choice. But that's just one, one of many tools that I like to use for just getting some of that shit out. Does anybody have a tool that they like to use that helps them when they're feeling just like, oh?
It's Norma here. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I use the breath.
Ooh, yes.
So, yeah. What I've discovered, not really as of late, I mean, a long time ago, probably 40 years ago, 50 years ago, but I know none of you are that old even here. So you weren't even thought of when I was doing this.
Oh, bless. Norma, you look like a young dapper chick though.
No, not really. Anyway, so the thing is, if you take a very slow, deep breath in through your nose and then blow it out slowly. So if you can inhale to 5 and exhale to 10 or 4 and 8 or 3 and 6, it doesn't really matter. But it's, 3 seconds in, 6 seconds out. If you do that 3 times, it actually changes the neurons in your brain.
Amazing.
So, and every time you do that, those thoughts, I'm thinking of you because I have that. I get into that. I call it the mind rant. It's
yeah.
It's like a rant. It's a rant in your own head, right?
Yeah.
And there's no answer to it. And there's no such thing as letting go of it. I've also discovered. Anyway, the breath, back to the breath. I'm going to stay on the breath. So that has to happen actually 3 times. You have to stop and you have to push your belly out when you inhale. Okay, so when you inhale right down into your belly. So most people they suck their belly in when they're breathing in.
Yeah.
It's not right. That's an old army adage.
Oh, whoa.
Right? Suck it in, stand up straight,
Oh, right.
Okay, so it's fill it up. You got to fill it up.
Yeah.
And then when you exhale from the bottom up.
Bottom up. So you're like visualizing it, like coming up?
Yeah. So you inhale, you fill up the bottom, you fill up the middle, you fill up the lung, you fill up your throat, you fill up your head. And then if you can hold it for that time too, and then you exhale. So this is a little bit of a concentration for three breaths only. And
that's amazing.
It will actually change the neurons firing. And when I have to just say about the letting go, there's no such a thing as letting go. It doesn't go away. It happened. It happened. Whatever it is, wherever it is, whoever said it, whatever you thought, it already happened. So you can't let it go. You have to allow it.
Yeah. And
so once you allow it, then you have to accept it. None of this is easy. Like, fuck, as you say.
I love it. Yeah, Norma.
my favorite word.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, I've had a very rough week actually.
Oh,
and
bless.
Yeah, this came at a good time.
Oh, bless.
And bed and Netflix,
Yep. I know that very well.
but it's
Which
okay.
is
'cause
okay
it's-
sometimes still. Sometimes we got to just own it and be like, yep, today that's
Yeah.
where we're at.
Yeah, that's what it has
That's
to be.
okay. Yeah.
That's okay. Grilled cheese sandwiches, you know.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta just chow down on 20 Justin Bieber Timbits in your car and not feel bad about it.
What the hell is a Justin Bieber Timbit?
Oh goodness, it's a marketing thing, but they're actually quite tasty. I have to, no, I have no judgments on anything, but like they're just it's new Timbit from Tim Hortons, but I do recommend them. They're quite tasty.
Chocolate chips?
One's like a cake, I think like a birthday. I don't know. They're pretty funky. Like they're very sweet. It wasn't a good choice, but it was where I was at in that moment at that time.
Right, right, okay.
I accept.
Okay, so that's my little tool. That's it.
Thank you,
Oh, and
Norma. That's
jumping.
amazing. Thanks for sharing
Also-
that.
And also jumping.
Ooh, I love jumping.
Jump,
Yes,
because that also, it moves the energy up and down in you, you know.
yes. Do you have
It makes things move around and your arms out when you're doing it. Like you jump with your arms and your hands out
Like a
way
bird.
up. Yeah, up and out and back and whatever.
just
jump
like flail them around like
flailing.
yes. I can flail. I
Flailing.
got long limbs. I'm 6 feet tall. Everything's just like gangly. I can just woo. Perfect. Do you have a trampoline?
No, I don't.
Oh, that'd be fun for jumping too.
It would be fun for jumping.
So we have like I've used up a lot of our time here, but we have about 4 minutes. Thank you for sharing that, Norma. That's amazing. I love that.
Thank you.
Anything that they want to like get out, talk about, tool?
I can add something.
Yeah.
You know, oftentimes you have to face reality for what it is, our past, our childhood, you know, our teenage years, because that's where we got most of this stuff. And now we must heal from that. So we're thinking about what somebody did to me, what the world didn't give me, what my parents didn't give me. There's so much stuff that can trigger anxiety or depression. So that sometimes for anxiety, for example, like you'll be looking for results, but you don't see how you're going to get it. You're looking for progress, but you don't see how you're going to get it. Now, is it done?
Pardon? We have 2 minutes and 25 seconds.
It's reconnecting for some reason. I don't know what happened. Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So we need to face ourselves. We really need to go ahead and face ourselves and accept the fact that it's really a challenge. This is the most difficult task in any human experience, to deal with our own thoughts. Yes, deal with our own emotions. What I did over the years, I just shut the world down and just dealing with myself. You know, sometimes it was dark. Sometimes you have good days or bad days. But the more you go into that forest, you know, chopping those woods within you, battle those beasts, and then on the other side is a cool place, and it's always peaceful, beautiful, joyful. So what is that sound? Is it my phone?
I don't know. That's
What's
you. That's you doing
going
that.
on? What do you mean?
It's from you. It's like your speakers are being picked up
It
by
sounds like you're in a spaceship.
like, it's like a feedback loop.
Okay.
Or
I
you,
thought it was a rally
Or you
coming
have-
down. I'm like,
or
okay,
you
so,
have
oh.
you have two things on at the same time.
Oh, we're down to a minute. Does anyone want to yell?
You know,
Actually, Lita has something.
Yeah. We can't hear you.
Yes, I just wanted to say that I've heard of that 6 seconds technique before. Thank you, Norma.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, thank you, Norma. That's so cool. And jumping, absolutely. Who doesn't love jumping?
Try to get it up to 10 to 20. It's really good.
Amazing.
And holding your breath for the 15. So 10, 15, 20. Inhale 10, hold 15, exhale 20. 3 times. You have to concentrate on doing that, you know, it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, you have to think about it. So it empties the other, it
Yeah.
puts the other stuff in the trash.
love it.